Z, we were talking about Micah Frazier right now, just fishing the shell bars. We mentioned it yesterday. We showed some of those canals and some of those sight fishing areas that we were keying in on yesterday. For folks at home, maybe don't know what shell bars in Florida mean. It's not like ledge fishing in Tennessee or something that's really talked about. But as we look at the map, I mean, it's kind of a noticeable place as long as you know which way the river flows.
Well, really, I got to talk with Cliff Prince a whole bunch about this, really about, you know, what makes a good shell bar and how do you know and stuff like that. He has so much time out here. If you really watched Micah Frazier today, here's the problem that a non-local has coming trying to locate shell bars. He just doesn't have enough time. Really, Micah Frazier said, I've got 2 shell bars. One is a complete community hole. The other one, we decimated. A guy like Cliff Prince has so many to go through. And the difference of a shell bar really here on the St. Johns River, it's a shallower gig compared to, say, a Tennessee River. You know, a lot of times when they get out on the ledges on a Tennessee River, they're there shallow 5 to 10 feet of water for a day or two, and then they start to fade in that notorious 10 to 25 feet of water. Here on the St. Johns River, it's more of a 4 to 10 foot of water, and generally it's a small irregularity. It might not even be a shell bar, as we heard Cliff Prince say today. It might just be an irregularity off of a point where the current does something different. But like anywhere we go, where it turns into a ledge type deal, a shell bar type deal, it's getting on the correct rotation. And the one thing we have not seen yet today, we have not seen Cliff Prince hit that rotation correctly like we saw him do on day number 1.
When we caught 7 fish in 8 casts and cold 3 or 4 times, that was the big deal.
And really the other difference here, Ronnie, compared to our notorious, you know, Tennessee River ledge type deals, you're constantly waiting for current, you're waiting for them pull water, push water, whatever it might be. The difference here on the St. Johns River, you're really waiting for a tide switch, a tide fluctuation. And the other side of on the St. Johns River, it's not a tide switch of 3 to 4 to 5 feet. This river only fluctuates, call it 13 to 18 inches of water. But that's the whole thing, is getting that timing down right. And really, we got to see where Cliff Prince made his hay yesterday was about this time of day.
And one thing, if we're looking at the map to identify where some of these things would be, St. Johns River flows south to north.
Right.
So it's not like the current's coming down this way. If it does, it's going to come in and out because of the tide, but it's going this way most of the time, the way it flows. And so places like this is kind of where Micah Frazier's spot is, and it makes sense because the river flows this way, hits that spot, and it's kind of, I guess, where it throws the shells or they sit and end up getting displaced. But it's also at the mouth. All these creeks and canals dump into the main river right there.
You know, and the interesting thing about the St. Johns River, whether you're talking about bedding bass or you're talking about where the key, you know, main river shell bars are, is the locals tell you where they're at. If you see guys posted up on the flats in Lake George, or you see them drifting shiners out on this main river, trust me, they're a pretty good clue that is where it's going down at.
Cliff Prince and some of the other shell bar guys got to basically survive these good sight fishing days, make it to the weekend, and they'll be able to probably prosper.